Guys, so this is the real estate role-playing objection handling workshop. The reason why we call it a workshop is because I'm going to be walking you through on how to do things. Now, raise your hand if you're in a low inventory environment. Anyone? Everyone's in a low inventory environment? Okay, I do training literally across the planet, and I have yet to go into a market or talk to somebody in a market that has a lot of inventory. Everybody's in a low inventory market. Now, we're all in North America, I think, so far, and our inventory is ridiculous. Now, I live in Southern California, and as of Sunday night in Irvine, California, where I live, there's only 125 homes on the market. 125 homes on the market. Now, in Irvine, I used to run a company in Irvine, and I'm very adept on who the movers and shakers are. There's about 2,000, 2,500 active real estate agents that reside in Irvine, California.
Wow.
So there's no lack of competition when it comes to the number of people. And I think that's true for all of you, especially if you live in California. If you live in California, you don't know this fun fact. I'm going to share something with you. There are more licensed real estate agents in the state of California than there are houses to sell. Keep that as a thought. So there's a lot of competition, but there's two ways to gauge competition. There's competition as in number of people who you're competing with, and there is quality competition, fewer people that you're competing with, but just a higher level. Now, in my experience, the real estate agents who are focusing on listings, who are taking listings, who are actually doing sales skills, they're the ones who will always capture the majority of the market, simply because they are in the process. See, if you represent buyers, it's not hard representing a buyer. You show enough houses, they will buy one. You follow the paperwork. But when you're actually working with a seller and you're actually consulting with a seller, you actually have to use your sales skills. You're not getting too many commission objections if in fact you're working with a buyer, because the majority of the commission is paid through your agreement through the MLS. Now, some people accept the amount of money that is paid through the MLS, but when I was in production, I would always let the buyer know that the amount given or credited by the seller acted as a credit towards the amount I'm paid, but anything overage, they would actually have to come in with the difference at closing. Might work with you, might not work with you. That's a whole different class. But here's what we're going to do today. We're focusing on the objection. Properties are selling fast. Why are you charging a full commission? Now, why are you charging a full commission? Will you reduce your commission? Commission objections come up all the time. It's nothing new. The only difference with this objection is that we're tying it to properties are selling fast. Now, I want to pause right here. We're going to practice this script based on the fact that you're new to the market. One of the biggest challenges that everybody has in sales, it's not just in real estate sales, the biggest challenge people have is beating obscurity, or is not being obscure, being known, right? Being popular. And typically what happens, the person who's popular doesn't get the objections, doesn't get as many objections. They're not hard on people if they know, like you, and trust you. That's why it has been proven time and time again that you need to focus on your sphere of influence. You need to focus on growing your database, because when people know you, like you, and trust you, that trumps pretty much everything else. Everything else is a question. So we're going to go through this script as if we're newer, maybe to real estate, maybe to the market, maybe it's somebody who's a veteran, but they just don't have that large database, that reach within the community that other people do. Okay, so we're going to do that. Now, I sent an email out to all of you. Did you guys get it? The link so you can actually download the script? Shake your head yes if you got it. If not,
Actually,
Go ahead,
sorry,
Shelley.
Brett. Actually, I did got it, but I can't open the link. I'm having the same problem. Like sometimes I
Yeah, me
can't open
too.
the link.
So I have that shared with everybody as a link. What I'll do is I'm going to put it up on the screen. I will download it in PDF and then I will send it to you guys for those of you that are on the workshop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screenshot everybody's on here. So if you don't have your camera on, now's a good time to put the camera on because we're going to start going into things. Go into here.
Turn the camera on.
Okay, so you guys should be able to see the script. I am,
What is she?
the objection will come up often the less you are known in this area. So we just talked about this. So the seller comes into this. Anyone want to volunteer to be my role-playing partner before I select somebody randomly?
I will.
Okay, Andre. Oh, Sarah, you raise your hand. You're going to be my role-play partner. Okay. Oops. Let me get this back up and situated. You guys can tell that I do a lot of things digitally because I control my own environment. I get to hack the window of everything that you guys get to see. So you're the seller, you're in red, I'm in black.
Okay.
Okay. So we're having a conversation. Let's frame this as if it's maybe a second or third call. So you're a little bit aware I'm doing follow-up.
Okay.
So one thing, guys, a script, I don't believe that you should practice scripts verbatim, not on the public. I think you should practice scripts verbatim by yourself. Shadowboxing is what I call it. And the reason why I do that is because rarely will a conversation go the same way that you practice it if you only do it verbatim. So what you'll find through this role-playing group and through the way that I do skills training is I do it a lot like the martial arts. For those of you who don't know, I came up, I was very heavily into the martial arts. I taught for a few years professionally, and I break things down into techniques. And I want you to learn the technique and get muscle memory and learn how to adjust it, because having a conversation is a lot like river rafting. You start here at the top, you want to get down to the bottom, but no two runs are the same. You're just weaving and routing, and that's how a conversation goes. So the person who asks the questions is always going to control the conversation. So the key here is to make it conversational, ask questions, make it natural, like you're talking to a friend, but on the same time, have an objective to weave them down the path. And you do that by listening to what they say and then asking a question. So it's like they're going this way. It's like when, if you have kids, I have 2 young kids, and I remember when they were toddlers, when they were just barely starting to walk, one would start walking this way. So I'd run over and I'd stop. So they would walk that way. And then I would run over and I'd stop. So you're guiding them down the path. So while I put this script together to help you practice your talk trap, what we're doing is we're practicing scripts, which is a prelude to your personal talk track. Your talk track is improvising, is freestyle. So let's go on that. So Sarah, give me the objection.
Well, I mean, you're still charging me full commission while the properties are selling within days. I don't think it's fair. Yeah. It's a 60,000 commission you're charging me.
Okay. So she's freestyling. Now, this is what I would do. See, on this is great. So we do real world stuff here. One thing that you said, Sarah, is you brought up the term fair. So this is what I would do. And then we're going to go back to the script. So Sarah, I don't really understand. Do you feel I'm not being fair?
Well,
Okay, pause there.
I don't know.
Now, here's what I want you guys to think about. When somebody comes to you, and has there ever been a time, NLP technique, write that down. Has there ever been a time where you have been on the receiving end where you felt like you were being treated unfairly? Has everyone, now think about that. We've all had that, right? Doesn't feel very good. Now, flip that role. Has there ever been a time where you've been on an end where you feel that the other person feels that you're not being treated fairly, that you're not treating them fairly? Doesn't feel very good, does it? Nobody in, well, there are those special kind of some people, but most people, number one, they don't want to be treated unfairly. And number two, they don't want to be perceived that they are treating somebody unfair. So using the power of fairness in your talk track is a weapon of mass destruction, because you're diving right at the core. And when you're actually dealing with commissions, number one, use fair all the time. Number two, you're going to want to get to the point where, what do you think would be fair? Okay, get them to show their cards. Okay, so, oops, my computer went silent. Okay, now that was off the subject. Now we're going to go into this. So Sarah, just follow what's on the screen in the red. Properties
I
are
can't
selling
read
fast.
it. I
Oh.
can't read it, sorry.
Let's see, can you read it now?
Little bit more, please.
I don't know if I can go any. I can't go any.
Properties,
Okay.
yeah.
So just say this, properties were you able to access the script that I sent?
Today?
Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to play both sides. So I'm going to talk
Okay,
this
please.
way when I'm the seller. I'm going to talk this way when
Okay, that's
I'm the
better,
agent.
thank you.
Okay,
Mhm.
just kidding. I'm not going to do that. But okay, so the objection is properties are selling fast. Why are you charging a full commission?
Okay,
Now, don't answer it. The way that you're going to answer this is you're going to get a confused look on your face. Look,
Mhm.
sales is 50% theatrics, how you say it. Okay. Some of us like really good movies. Some of us like B movies. I hate B movies because the acting's terrible. So when I say theatrics, I want to have my response elicit a response from them. I'm doing it on purpose. And this is tied in modern consumer behavior and the way that we can conversate. So properties are selling fast. Why are you charging a full commission?
Mhm.
So I'm going to look confused. I'm going to slow my tempo down. I'm like, and I'm going to rephrase this. I'm going to rephrase what they said as a question. So
Mhm.
properties are selling fast. Why am I charging a full commission? Notice how I did an
Yeah.
upswing. I did an
Yes.
upswing. It wasn't a downswing. A downswing is for a statement. An upswing is for a question. So in California, you have what's called the valley.
Peak and valley?
Yeah, no, not peaks and valleys. That's economics. But the way that you say things with upswings, the way that people talk, like it's like a valley girl, they upswing. And so
Yes.
it's not assertive. So you want to do a downswing. So when you're doing this, you want to have, God, wait. So you feel that because properties are selling fast, you're wondering, why am I charging a full commission? And then pause. Okay.
Mhm.
We're not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything because the next person who talks is going to lose. Because has there ever been a time where you guys had that awkward feeling when there's silence and you're thinking to yourself, is it my turn to talk? Or is it their turn to talk? It's my turn, my turn to talk. Okay. You don't want to lose in that because what they're going to do is when you phrase that as a question, they're going to give you a little bit more intel. Now they may change the objection altogether, but in this one, they're going to say, well, yeah, because other agents are doing it, because I put it on the home, it closes, most homes are selling, 7 days before they go on the market because, right? So they're going to add that to that. So at this point, you may have to adjust your talk track, which is why we don't practice things verbatim. Because if we just practice things verbatim, you're not going to be able to handle this because you're going to be looking through your pages wondering, oh my God, where's that objection at?
What's next?
Right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so they did that and we're going to stick on script. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to put a softener. Now, if you're watching any of my videos, I do a lot of conversational selling. I do a lot of neuro-linguistic programming, persuasive selling. If you don't mind me asking, now that's called a softener.
Mhm.
If I didn't say that, if I just went into what I'm going to say, it's going to come off as combative. The reason why I call it a softener, someone might call it something different, because it softens the blow.
Yes.
Has there ever been a time when somebody's, see, I do that all that. This is just part of my talk track nowadays. Has there ever been a time where someone came up to you and said, hey, Sarah, I got some bad news. Okay. What happens is that you're mentally preparing yourself for the bad news. So it doesn't come off. That's a softener.
Yes.
Now, if
yeah.
they say, I got bad news, are you sitting down? Now you know it's really bad. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, if you don't mind me asking, do you feel that because homes are selling fast, that it equates to less work? I think that's a fair question. Now, let's look at this from the consumer standpoint. Let's look at this from the seller standpoint. They want to sell their home for the most money in the quickest amount of time with the least amount of hassle. That's it.
Yeah.
They want the job done. They want someone who knows the market. They want someone who's selling right. So looking at from that perspective, we don't ask a question you don't already know. That's why they're asking. They want to net the most money. So do you feel, if you don't mind me asking, now, if I didn't do a softener and they just said, why are you charging full? Yeah, because, you know, if they gave me the reason, and I'm like, well, do you feel that because there's less, that homes are selling faster, there's less work? That's combative.
Exactly.
So slow your roll. If you don't mind me asking, do you feel that because homes are selling fast, that equates to less work? Look, they're going to say yes.
Yeah.
And if they don't say yes, well, again, that's why we practice this, is because you might have to. Okay, so here's where we're going to. Oh, I see. Well, here's where there might be a misunderstanding. Do you mind if I share it with you?
Sure.
So guys, what you'll notice is a lot of sales trainers, a lot of sales coaches, what they do is they have you go on a script. In that script, what it has you do is you take a really big, deep breath, and then you just vomit words on them, and they don't get a chance to say anything. In a conversation with a friend, family, coworker, your sphere of influence with a normal person, what happens is that you say something, you ask a question, they say something, maybe they ask a question, you say, it's a game of verbal ping pong. Okay. So what I'm doing here is, look, okay, I understand what you're saying. I see where there might be a misunderstanding. I'm not going to say there is a misunderstanding, because now I'm saying that they're wrong. What I'm saying is that there might be a misunderstanding. Words matter. Do you mind if I share it with you? Now I'm asking them for permission. Do you mind if I share with you why I think there might be a misunderstanding? And everyone says yes. If they say no, then they're just going to roll over you. They won't say no. If they do say no, move on, because they're not part of your database. That's not someone who you're in rapport with.
Okay.
So, and they're going to say, sure. Okay. So here's where I go more into a technical. Let me zoom this down so you guys can kind of see it. Now, in a normal market, a property would be marketed for 30 to 60 days in order to negotiate one, maybe two offers. And then it would take anywhere between 45 to 60 days to coordinate the transaction from contract to close. Did you know that? I'm not going to do a statement. Did you know that? I'm encouraging them to participate in the conversation.
Yes. So you
they're either going to say, they're either going to say, yes, I do know that, or no, I don't know that. Honestly, whatever they say doesn't really matter, because you're not done talking. All you are doing is letting them participate in the conversation. And they're going to say, yes, I did know that, or no, that's good. And then you're going to repeat and affirm. Now, in this market, there are multiple offers to negotiate in 5 to 7 days. And then the transaction from contract to close is usually 30 days or less. So my question to you, Sarah, do you feel that doing more in less time equates to less work?
No, you're still putting this full effort, whatever needs to be done to get me the most money.
And I'm really glad you said that, Sarah, because I just sold a home over on XYZ Street. It had 30 offers. I had to talk to 30 different agents. I had to talk to them consistently. Each call takes, you know, it takes time. So quite honestly, in a different market, I would much rather only negotiate 1 or 2 transactions to get you the most. But in order to represent your best interests and help you get the most money for your home, then that is part of what I have to do. But I don't have 30, 60 days to do it. I have a few days to do that. So do you see where I'm coming from with that?
Yeah. Okay. So what you're saying that in a short period of time, you achieve the goal that I'm looking for. And you did your work.
In this market, my guess is that you're looking through a real estate agent who knows how to navigate the complexities of a transaction that can actually make sure it gets done in that time frame while not having any hassles or things that will come up and torpedo your deal.
The future, yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Now I went off script with that, but here's where I go into it. And so, you know what, Sarah, you're probably right. However, and this is where we throw in inflation. Look, the inflation rate is 7.5%. if you believe the government numbers. If you calculate things back from like 1982, we're probably more like 15%. So the cost of living is going up. Prices are going up. Services and goods are going up. I'm going to use that. So Sarah, you're absolutely right. However, unlike other companies that are raising their prices because of the inflation, I've decided, let me scroll down to the next page. I've decided to keep my compensation the same because I feel it's fair. I feel it's fair for the services that I provide. I feel it's fair for the experience that I bring and the market that I have. Sarah, what do you think?
Well, the other agent never explained it in this depth, and I feel quite comfortable that you earned what you're asking. You deserve to be paid.
Yeah, well, the truth of it is
Thank
that
you.
most agents won't explain it that way, is because I've been doing this for 25 years. I've sold over 1,000 properties across 26 states. I've probably forgotten more than what most know. And when my guess is, if you're like most homeowners, your goal is to find the agent who has the most experience, who has the most understanding of the current market, so that you have the better chance of getting the most money in the quickest amount of time with the least amount of hassle. Does that sound about right?
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
So we did a combination here. We did a little bit of the script. We did a little bit of improvisation. And that is why we practice on our own verbatim, but that's why it's so important to role play impromptu, because look, agents are harder on other agents because all you're focusing on are the 10% of those objections that you're getting. You're like always just throwing fastballs, right? And that's what you're doing. You're sparring. Real estate role playing is sparring. You know, have you ever, I don't know if you guys ever follow boxing, but you'll never see Mike Tyson jump in. He spent thousands of hours sparring before he jumped into a main event. That's just what you do. And that's why he's able to do it. And he never practiced, he never sparred, well, not never, but he had a variety of different sparring partners because he did not want to develop habits based on somebody else's style.
Yes.
So you guys may not know that, but that's how this role-playing group was actually formulated. Okay, so we are at 9:23. I want to give you guys some time to team up and role play and practice with others. Let me see. I thought that we set the Zoom room up. Bear with me. So while I'm doing this, do you guys have any questions? Okay, I am going to put you guys in breakout groups. There are 3, 6, 9 of us here. And so 2, 4, 6, 8. So I'm going to put 4 breakout rooms. And so there's going to be one room with three people into it. Okay. So if you feel comfortable doing this, do it without a script. Do it based off what we just talked about. And the reason why I say that is because you're not going to have a script when you are role playing or not role playing when you're doing this real life. Actually, I'm the 9th person, so I'm the odd person. So we actually have 4 rooms with 2 people in it. We're going to do this for 6 minutes. So if you whoever's last name comes first in the alphabet, you're going to be the agent first. And then the other person, just roll through it. Don't throw the fastballs. Just go through it. Practice it out. We'll come back after 6 minutes. If you have any questions, if you want to work through something, if you want to throw a fastball at me, you know, let's do it. But you guys ready to go into the breakout room? 6 minutes? You guys good?
Yes.
Okay. I was able to get back in, Jan. Okay, so we're bringing everyone back. So let me have some feedback. Olivia, let me come to you. If you unmute yourself, what do you think? Any questions, comments, thoughts?
No, I thought it felt really good. I thought I had to read the script. I didn't go off the script very much, but I thought, I thought it was good, and I thought it felt comfortable to go over it. Yeah, I thought it was good.
Good. Anyone else? Anyone else? Let's come over to you, Shelley.
Yes, I thought it was really good because I learned from how you're saying that we have to put more on our fascia and listen to the seller. So I think after what you told us and practicing, it's like remembering it more, you know, so I really like it.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you said that. So any fastballs that you guys want to throw at me? Like, what would you say if aliens came down and it adjusted this? I mean, you get all kinds of crazy stuff, but any questions you guys want to throw at me?
The fastball right now is all the discount brokers. I have Open Door just trying to take over my neighborhood. So yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, Open Door. Hey, like Open Door is going to just come in here and do everything for me cheaper.
Absolutely. So I'm going to veer off the path here for a little bit. Okay. So we know that the consumer, they want to sell their home for the most money, the quickest time, least amount of hassle. I have never found a seller that wants the opposite of that. They want to sell it for the least amount of money in the longest period of time with the most amount of hassle. Nobody wants that, but there is something that we call that. We call them for sale by owners. They don't know that, but that's what they're doing. Here's the thing. Your preparation for your next listing appointment started a month ago, started 2 months ago, started 5 months ago. Here's why. Have you guys ever heard the term, do you make your decisions based on value or price? You guys ever hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a flawed term, and here's why. See, value is a mathematical equation. At least I turned it into a mathematical equation. I'm half Japanese, so I turn everything into like math and equations and technology with a camera. So the equation is value equals goods and services, perceived value, the perceived price or the perceived value of goods and services divided by the actual cost. Okay, what you pay. So it's what you get divided by what you pay. Now, here's how it works out. Let's say that the perceived value of the goods and services that are being provided is $1,000. And the cost is $1,000. Well, 1,000 divided by 1,000 is a 1 multiple, right? So that's 1 times the value. Not a good deal. It's not a bad deal. It's a fair deal. But what would happen if the perceived value of goods and services went to $2,000 and the price stayed at $1,000? Okay. Now 2 divided by 1 is 2. You have a 2 multiple. It's a better deal, right? It's a better deal than a 1 multiple. But check this out. What happens if the perceived value stays at $1,000 and the cost is $500? You get a 2 multiple. So the reason why I illustrate this is because the way that you affect value is by either providing more goods and services or lowering the price. These discount brokers, the only thing in their bag is lowering the price. Can we agree on that? They're not doing anything special. But here's the challenge, and this is why I said that your listing appointment started months ago. But the great thing is there's a saying that the best time to plant a tree is 40 years ago and today. So if you adopt this concept that I'm going to share with you guys are going to make sure that you're leading the pack. Someone tell me, what is it that sellers look for in an agent? What are they looking for in an agent? There are 2 main things. Just go ahead and break it out.
Confidence.
So a seller is going to go look for an agent and they're looking for somebody who's confident, right?
Yes.
What are the technical abilities? Do you think that they want somebody with experience?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you think they want somebody who has market knowledge?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that their presence, them and or their company in the market, do you think that they're looking for somebody that's maybe known?
Prominent. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you, when you look for somebody to work with, a doctor, a lawyer, any white collar, accountant, CPA, do you want to work with the cheapest person in town? Do you want to work with the most valuable, with the most experience? Okay.
No.
Great. Now, the reason why I walk you through this is because a lot of people are
Beautiful.
looking at things from their perspective when you have to look at it from the consumer's perspective. Now, not everybody thinks the same way, but most sellers think mostly the same way. They want somebody who's experienced. They want somebody who has market knowledge. They want somebody who's known. They want somebody who knows how to do the job, right?
Exactly.
And this is why I say that being popular, you have to beat obscurity. So the consumer, the seller, is looking at real estate agents is they're all the same. They're all vanilla ice cream cones. Vanilla, vanilla, but if the only flavor you have to choose from is vanilla, then the only thing, if all you have a choice is a vanilla ice cream cone, and there's 5 different places having vanilla ice cream cones, typically what's going to happen is that now you're going to go for the cheapest ice cream cone if they perceive the ice cream to all be the same. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes, yeah.
So the key here is that you have to make sure that you're the mint chocolate chip ice cream cone with sprinkles on top and whatever else, marshmallows. Okay, that's separating you. Now, what is it that's going to separate you? What's going to separate you is your experience. What's going to separate you is your market knowledge. But the problem is, how do you share market knowledge? So most real estate trainers, they're still teaching traditional sales activities, which I still teach traditional sales activities. Mine always comes with a twist. See, I believe that everybody needs to be tactical. I believe that everybody needs to be very, very efficient in what they do. They do things on purpose, very deliberate to reach a certain outcome. Now, when we start looking at the consumer's journey in 2022, and I'm going to share this with you guys, and you guys are going to probably all shake their head yes. There is a point in time when you are ready, willing, and able to talk to somebody. You're ready to make a decision. But there's also a point in time, days, weeks, months, years, doesn't matter, that you're going to start thinking about it. Now, that interim is called a discovery phase. And in 2022, what we all do is we Google it. Will you guys agree with that? Okay. So if you're doing that and you're a consumer, chances are so are the other people. And I can tell you, all the studies that NAR has done, 97% of buyers all use the internet when they're transacting on a property. And I think 97% is big because the other 3%, problems. Okay. I'm not printing out a purchase agreement and driving to their house every single time. That's not how things are done in 2022. So I'm okay with working with just the 97%. Let the other people fight over that 3% that wants to drive and not be efficient. So here's the thing. In traditional sales activities, when you're calling a cold or colder prospect, there are 2 questions you have to answer before you can have any meaningful conversation. Number 1, who are you? Number 2, what do you want? When you guys get a call that's unidentified, that same process goes through your head. Why do I know that? Because that's consumer behavior. That's why they have do not call lists. That's why they have caller ID. That's why every single person, I have America's Tires in my phone right now because I had to go get new tires and I wanted to make sure I answered their call when they called me. So every single person that could possibly call me is in this phone. And if it comes up identified, it's a sales call and no one's going to answer it. You guys do that, right? So how do we, as real estate professionals, separate it? Traditionally, salespeople, not just real estate, salespeople operate on an analog system, meaning that you have all this market knowledge, you have all this awesomeness built inside, but the only time you can share that is every time you have a conversation. And the way that new or newer agents are taught, which I still teach this way because there's no cost to it except time, is to dial for dollars, is to go knock on doors. But the problem is the latency between having a conversation. 20 years ago, everybody answered their phone because your sibling was the caller ID. 20 years ago, people answered the door when they knocked on because they were curious. It wasn't as crazy. Now, not the case. So how do we adapt our business to operate a traditional business in a modern society? And here's what you need to do. You need to become the market expert. You need to claim your territory. Okay. Don't be an expert at a generalist. Don't be a super generalist. A generalist is somebody who does everything for everybody everywhere. Choose an area. Take 5 miles around your area and claim that to be yours. Notice my language. Claim it. Claiming means that you're now started your own game and it's a turf war. Anyone selling houses on your turf, you should take that personally. Don't take it personally to the point where you want to go and have words, but you just need to accept the fact that why are they selling houses on your turf? Now your job is to go know everything about everything in your area. the shortcuts, the schools, the HOAs, the neighborhoods, the properties, the expireds, the for sale by owners, the events, everything, because that's what an expert does. A market expert knows everything. A market expert, when a question answers, you don't have to, oh, I need to think about that and I'll get back to you. That's not what the expert does. That's what a generalist does. So if you do that and you start creating content, now, where are people going to get their information? They're not going to Facebook. They're not going to Instagram. They're going to share, they're going there to be social. That's why they call it social media. What they're doing is Google. Look, we have professionals on here. We all have access to the MLS. How many of you have driven up to a property, instead of going through the process of logging into your MLS, you Googled the property address? Am I the only one that's done that? I do it all the time, right? I do it all the time. If you're doing it and I'm doing it and we have access to all the real estate information we need, the consumers are doing it. They're going to YouTube. They're watching property walkthroughs. They're watching videos on playgrounds. They're watching videos on schools. They're watching all of this stuff that could turn you into the market expert. See, it used to be that people, your sphere of influence is people who know you, like you, and trust you and know you're in real estate. But now, if they know of you, like you, trust you, and real, look, none of us have met in person, but you guys have seen my videos. You guys are getting to know my personality. Chances are you guys like me, especially Sarah. I think she's been in this group forever. If you didn't like me, you would have left. So what would happen if, and this is one of the things that I coach and train on. First of all, you have to accept the fact you're going to suck at something before you get better. Just accept the fact. Because I think video is the worst kept secret in real estate. I think it's highly underutilized. And I think the reason why is because it's hard getting people to do scripts and talk on the phone. It's 10 times harder to get them to put their video, to do video on the phone. That's why we have the videos on here, so you get used to it. But I promise you, if all you did is just start right now, and number one, you claimed where you want to be, what's your area, and you decided to become the expert, you know what happens? Experts don't give discounts. If you had a really serious legal issue, you're not going to go with the law firm that's going to say that we're going to do it for the cheapest. You're going to look, now money's always an issue. Remember, it's one half of the equation. Money's always the issue. So you might have to talk about it, but it's not always the issue. And most of the time it's not. Most of the time it's not the issue. There was a study by NAR. It says, I think it was 20 or 25% base their decision solely on price. Okay. Those are the 20, 25% you don't want to work with. Work with the other 80%. And the top 15% only go with the high. They think that the most expensive is the best. So, but the meat of the production's here. So going back into your discount brokers, back when I got into the real estate game, that was 25 years ago. You guys ever hear of Help You Sell? Help You Sell? Okay. They were the 800-pound gorilla when it comes to discounts. I don't see them anywhere. You know what model survives? Professionals providing service. But you have to make your talk track. You have to put your professional image to be more valuable to the competitors. If you're going to claim the market, go find out who the top 10 people are in that market, right? I'm not in producing right now, but I know I have a list of the top 20 people in Irvine and what they do. Know your, okay, you guys ever see The Last Samurai? You guys ever see Last Samurai? Mm-hmm. Tom Cruise, he got captured and he's like, what do you want with me? And the guy goes, I forgot his name. The samurai goes, to know my enemy. And you need, if we were in a regular business, no one would go and open shop without knowing all their competitors in the market, right? Nobody would. So know your competitors, become friends with your competitors. Become friend because of the fact that in this day and age, being friendly and having a rapport with the other agents could mean the difference between you getting your deal accepted or not, especially when there's 24 offers on a property. So the way that you combat discount brokers is don't compete on price. Compete on value. Compete. Make sure that you're not a vanilla ice cream cone. Go create, do this. there's only 125 homes for sale right now in Irvine, California. So in half of Irvine, there's 75. If you did one review on a property every single day for the next 125 days, if no new homes came onto the market, you've seen every single home on the property. And if you created a 3 to 5 minute video, it doesn't have to be great. It just has to be informative. You'll get better with time, just like you do on the phones. But at the end of the 125 days, you have 125 videos on every single home on the market. Do you think that you're the market expert? Probably. Do you think any other agent has seen that many properties? Probably not. And from the seller's perception, are you the expert because you have all the videos? There's an old saying that the person who writes the book is the expert. Well, that's still true. But if you're not being found on the digital space, if the seller can't compare what's different between you and them, if they perceive you as a vanilla ice cream cone and everyone else is a vanilla ice cream cone, the person who's going to be the cheapest is going to win. So I have a friend who's only been in the business for 3 years. He doesn't do any prospecting, doesn't do any cold calling. He's good, but he started a YouTube channel like 4 years ago, and he caters to the Chinese buyers. The guy goes to bed and he just wakes up with leads. He's done like 1.5 in GCI last year, his third full year in the business. So I don't want you to think that I'm saying don't do any traditional activities, because I feel that's important. I believe in having a mixed martial arts business, is that you need to adjust to what the current times are. You can't continue operating on an analog channel in a digital world. Start focusing on your value proposition, start focusing on your knowledge of the market, your knowledge and experience, and sharing that. Okay, because otherwise you're just doing what everybody else is doing, and that's the most crowded path to come. That was like the longest answer that I've ever given to a very simple question, but does that answer the discount brokerage? So there is no magic thing that you can say about that. There's nothing magic you're going to say. If they're going to compete on price, you're going to lose unless you want to beat them on price, which I don't recommend that you do. So the only way that you're going to have to do what you can do that you're in control of, that nobody else is going to do, is go out there and know the market better than anybody else, and then share it with the world. And that's going to give you, and that's going to make you the authority in your market. And that's going to make you popular. And quite honestly, I'm a big fan of being popular and good, but if I had to choose between the two, I would choose popularity over good any day of the week. Because I know that you guys all know that there are some agents in your office that do a ton of business that you wonder how they wake up and they have the cognitive ability just to tie their shoes, yet alone they do a lot of business, but yet they're very popular within their sphere.
Community.
That's what we do. Now that's a little bit off subject for the role-playing group, but I think you guys kind of get the gist of it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That help? Okay.
Big time.
Longest answer ever. I might have to turn
Thank
that
you.
into its own little video on YouTube.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so that's it. So we went a little over time, so that's kind of true for my course. I don't feel I can get anything done in 30 minutes. But did you guys get value from this?
It was
You guys
worth
feel that you
it.
guys learned something?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. We're doing this every Tuesday.
Thank you.
Every
Thank you.
Tuesday.
Do we get
Looking
access to
forward
the
to-
videos afterwards?
Yeah, I sent you guys the replay last time, didn't I?
This is my
think-
first time. This is my first time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah. So what I do is when it's done rendering in Zoom, I'll send you guys out the link to access it in Zoom. And sooner or later, I'll go back and I'll start adding content for my YouTube channel. So if you guys aren't following me on YouTube, go there. I mean, I have over 100 videos of just objection. You know what's great? Here's what's great. I evolved to the market. I evolved to the market because the way that you respond to these objections in a low inventory market is much different than the way that you're going to respond to objections in a high inventory market. Now, I believe that the door is going to swing to the other side probably this year. That's my belief. I'm always against the grain when it comes to the popular thing. And I don't know why. It just makes sense to me. But I think there's going to be opportunities. So just stay the path, be diligent, but protect your business. And the best way to do that is, number one, have conversations each day with people who own property and live in your market area. And number two, start creating content that people can consume when they're in their discovery phase. Because here's the great thing. Someone will find you and like your personality and they'll stop following you. And it may not be next week. You know, they're remember, days, week, months, years. But once they get you and once you become the authority in your market, all we're doing, guys,
You're unbeatable.
all we've done is taking the traditional sphere of influence process and we've applied it to a modern digital world. That's all we're doing. But yet, for whatever reason, I don't know. I think people don't know what they don't know. So they don't know what the questions ask. And that's the truth of the consumer.